Welcome to my channel. So today I want to show you how I made this dress, the neckline, how to cut this particular neckline, and how to get the asymmetric waistline. You can see the back waistline is not the same, so I'm going to be showing you how to cut that. So here's my pattern paper. You need to actually fold the pattern paper into two because of the waistline, the kind of waistline that we're going to be cutting. So the first thing I went to do was to mark the vertical measurements. I marked the bust points, the under bust, the waistline, and I also went ahead to add extra 5 inches to the waistline for the basque measurement. So you go ahead to repeat the same measurements on another side of the pattern paper like that, so you can easily join them together. So which is what I am doing here. I'm just using my ruler to extend the lines out. So you need to extend the lines out. You go ahead to label your pattern. So you label the lines out. So my first line was my bust point, the second one is the under bust, and the third one is the waist point, which is also the waistline, and the last one is the measurement for the basque, which I used 5 inches from my waistline. So once you're done doing that, you want to go ahead to measure the bust palm. So the bust palm measurement I used for this was 4.5 inches. So you mark that on the bust points on the waistline. Just make sure you mark it out so that you can easily extend it out. So that's just what I did there. So I used a straight ruler to just connect everything together like that. So I'm done connecting it together. So that's what it was looking like. So the next thing I want to do here is to tighten the neckline. So because the dart of this neckline, it goes all the way, as in the dart of this dress goes all the way into the neckline. So you need to tighten that neckline as you're moving the dart upward. So the first thing I did was to mark the basic neckline measurement. So for that I used 3 by 3 inches. So for the 3 by 3 inches, you're going to be connecting that on the bust point, that stop on the bust point, you're going to connect it all the way to the neckline. So before I do that, you're going to come down around 2 inches, or let's say 2.2 inches, depending on how big your client is. So once I marked that point, I also marked the point where the neckline starts from. So the first thing you're going to do is to connect the point where the neckline starts from to the bust point first. So that is number one. After you're done doing that, you bring your ruler to the 2 inches that you marked down from the neckline, and you also connect it to the bust point. I hope you get that. It's quite simple, right? So once you're done doing that, you're going to be closing that dart. If you follow my video, you will understand why we close that. So I'm going to close the dart here because I want to redraw my neckline. So to redraw my neckline, I'm going to be closing this dart. Remember, I used the basic neckline before. That was just a guide. So we're going to now draft our new neckline, the neckline that we want. So you're going to see how I'm going to do that now. So just take your time to fold the pattern paper in and make sure that you're getting the one that is underneath. Remember that this pattern paper is folded into two. I did not use a single paper, I used two, folded into two, because of the difference in the cut on the waistline. The cut is not the same, so I ended up using two papers so I can explain better. So now I'm done closing that part up, so you can see how I carefully placed it. So you're going to use your tape to hold it down. So just hold it down carefully, make sure that the lines, make sure that they meet each other. So that was just what I did there. So when I was done, I went ahead to mark my new neckline. So for the horizontal measurement on that part, I used around 3.2 inches. You can use 3.5 depending on what type of neckline you're going for. So now for the vertical measurement, I used around 5.6. Yes, so just mark 3.2 inches horizontally, 5.6 vertically for the neckline on the thumbnail. So now for the vertical measurement on that part, I first marked 5.6, which was what I used on the other side. Then I came down, so the neckline measurement I used was around 7 inches on that part. So now to draw the horizontal measurement for that part, I used 3.6. Remember, for the upper part was around 3.2. So your neckline needs to go out a bit to form that shape. So I used 3.6. So you're going to see how the neckline is going to come out now. So I'm using my curve ruler to just connect the points together. Remember, for this part it's 3.2 upward and 3.6 downward. And for the vertical measurement, it was 7 inches on that folded part, 7 inches on the folded part. So you see the way the curve is going, because one side is 5.2 and the folded part is 7 inches. So that's why it's giving me that that shape that I want. So I'm going to go into just connect it like that with my curve. So you can see what it's giving me. So now, because I want that part to go up a bit, so you see the way I moved my ruler. So I intentionally used a different marker, so you can see the difference in the first neckline and the second one that I drew. So if you want, you can use the first one if you don't want it to go up a bit, and if you want, you can use the second one. So either one that you later go with is fine. So now I'm going to be marking out my shoulder points, because here my dart is still closed, so it's a good way for me to mark my shoulder points before I open the dart. So I'm going to mark my shoulder, which was 7 inches horizontally, and vertical measurements, which was my chest line, I used around 8 inches. So you're just going to connect the points like that. So this is where our armhole is going to sit. So once I'm done marking out this shoulder now, I'm going to go ahead to open up that dart that I closed, so that you can see what it looks like, and you can see that it is quite easy. So now for my shoulder slant, I came down 1 inches, and I'm going to be connecting it to the neckline like that. So once you're done connecting it to the neckline, we're going to go ahead to shape our armhole. So now, before you can shape your armhole, you need to get the horizontal measurement for your bust, for your round bust measurement. So what I did here was just to divide that shoulder point by 2, and I came in by half inches. So here I'm getting my round bust measurement, which is around 9.75 if you divide 37 by 4. So here, when I was done getting the round bust measurement, I went ahead to shape my armhole, because you need that round bust measurement to know where your armhole point is going to stop. So once I was done doing that, now I want to go ahead to tighten my under bust, so the bustier shape is going to come out. So you're going to tighten the underbust. So before I do that, I went in to open up that dart that I closed, so you can see what it's looking like. So you can see it clearly now. I hope you can see it clearly. And that was the dart that I closed previously, and that's the neckline. I'm just showing you how you're going to be cutting it. So now you're going to close your underbust and the waistline. So I went in 1 inch on one side, which is the side I'm working on right now, and I went ahead to extend it out. So the next one, which is the other side, I used 1.5 inches. So depending on the round bust measurements of your client, you can go anywhere from 1 inches to around 2 inches for that side. So once I'm done doing that, I'm going to be shaping it. So you can see the way I placed my curve. Now I'm going to turn it to the other side and draw the other part as well. So you can see how it's looking like. So now the next thing to do is just to get the round bust measurements of all the other parts. You can see I already marked the bust. Now I'm going to go to mark the waist. So the waist was 30 inches. I divided that by 4, which was 7.5, and I went ahead to add the dart intake, which was around 2.5 inches. So I added that back. So once I was done doing that, I did not mark anything on the basque measurement. So I'm just showing you the parts that will be cut off from the pattern. So you don't mark anything on the basque measurement, and once you have this, you're going to go into shape your pattern. So once you shape it, you're going to, if you want to snatch the waistline, you go ahead to snatch it. If you don't want to snatch it, you can leave it like that. So depending on what you're going for. So now what I did here was I placed a wooden surface under my pattern paper, because I want to scribble, like I want that line to show on the other side. Remember, my pattern is folded into 2. So that new line that I drew, so that was what I used my scribbler to scribble out, so I can see it on the other part. So watch the carefully, and I started from the armhole area. Now I went ahead to cut the shoulder, and I also cut out the neckline. Because we need to work on the basque, I'm going to be opening this pattern paper. I'm going to be opening it so you can see the other side. So you can see how I'm carefully cutting my pattern. I'm holding the one that is underneath so it doesn't move, and I get to cut both at the same time. So if you can't do that, you can go ahead and place some pins on it to just hold it down in place. So here's what the pattern was looking like when I was done cutting. You can see, even looking at the middle part, it's not like I've not cut the basque waistline here. So I just went in to open up everything, and I placed my paper tape on them to just hold it down in place. So here I was on holding it down in place, and the first thing I did was to note the midpoint. So that was the midpoint. Remember, we added 5 inches extra allowance to our waistline for the back. So you're going to be going in for the bust measurement maybe around 2.5 or 3.5 inches, depending on how wide you want the first bust to be. So this enables one line to be longer than the other one. So as you can see, this one that I'm drawing now is quite longer, so this one is the shorter one. So that is how to get this asymmetry basque. So I'm quite done here with the basque, so I'm going to be cutting it out. So I'm just showing you how everything aligned and how your posture is going to come out looking nice. So you don't need to do too much. So just tighten the neckline a bit, and you go ahead and tighten your under bust as well, just the way I have done in this video. So you can see me cutting off the pattern now. So you're going to be removing the excesses. So that was what the pattern was looking like. So I'm going to remove the paper tape on them that I used to hold them down in place. So if you look at this, like, everything is different. The two sides are different. The mid part is slant, is going in slant. So that is why you need to fold your pattern paper into two, to get this. So once I was done with this, I went ahead to label the other side that I didn't draw anything on, so that I can recognize it. So now we're going into the back pattern. So for the back pattern, I only marked the bust point and the waistline measurement, which was 10 inches and 18 inches respectively. Sorry. So now I'm going to mark out the shoulder. So my shoulder point was 7 inches. So I marked this out. So I made a mistake here. Instead of marking out the chest line measurement, which was 8 inches, my shoulder went all the way to my bust point, which is not supposed to be like that. So I later marked it, as you can see. So now for the round neck measurement, remember we used around 3.2 inches for the neckline for the front. So I did the same thing for the back, and I just went into shape my armhole. So that's what it was looking like. So the next thing I did was to get my round waist measurement. So here I realized that I did not come up on the waistline by 2 inches because I want to use a bust dart measurement. The bust dart measurement enables your posture to be more fuller, and it also gives that snatch kind of look for the waistline at the back, and it eliminates some unnecessary bulge that you do not need. So once I removed the 2 inches from the waistline, I just went in to mark my round waist measurement. I marked it and I added the dart allowance. So now for getting the dart, I just divided those points by 2 and I connected them with a straight line. I made sure that I went up all the way to the chest line. So once I was done doing that, I'm going to be marking out my dart allowance, which was around 0.75 inches on both sides. So now remember that we did not add a bust dart to the front pattern, and we already removed the excess 2 inches from the back. So if you follow my bust dart tutorial very well, you will understand that if you add a bust dart for the front, which is 2 inches on the side of the bust, you will need to remove the 2 inches back, 2 inches at the back. So because I did not add it for the front and I already removed the 2 inches from the back, I'm going to go back to the pattern, the front pattern, and I'm going to correct it. So I'm going to add the bust dart for the front pattern. I'm going to be showing you how to do that. So now on the shoulder, I divided this shoulder point by 2 and I made sure I connected it to the previous waist dart because there's no yoke at the back. So I'm just showing you how I did mine. So I made sure I extended the dart to the shoulder, and that is what we have for the back pattern. I'm going to be bringing the front pattern now. So you see the difference. You will notice that one side is going to be bigger, it's going to be longer than one side. So look at the difference. The front is quite longer than the back, so that is the excess 2 inches. Now I'm going to be removing it now. So from the bust point, I came down 2 inches and I just extended it to the bust point like that. So I make sure I divided that by 2 as well. This is just for ease when you want to fold that part. It doesn't necessarily need to, divide it into 2. So now I'm just cutting off the bust starts now. So you will see if I cut off this bust start and I place it to the side of my back, is going to align, so it's going to be the same thing. There I just went ahead to use my paper tape to just to just add the excess that was missing on that bust that area. So looking at it, you can see that my back measurement and my front is the same now. So now I am good. So the pattern is accurate now. If you notice any mistake in your pattern, you can go back to correct it. Thank you for watching today's video.